Welcome back to our March edition of What's Up Stratford. Joining me is Michael Bannerman from the Upside of Maybe. Michael, thanks so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having us. Yeah, this is great.
How did the name Upside of Maybe come about?
It's kind of funny. We wanted something that captured our vision statement, I guess, as a band, which is generally to be optimistic and fun and so it's kind of a glass half full name, right? There's an upside to maybe. We joke, I I don't know if it's true or not, but we've told the story enough over the years that it feels like it is. That my brother had asked, he was single at the time and had asked somebody out, they had said maybe. And we joked and said, "Oh, it's not a no. There's an upside to that." And went, "Oh, that's a great name for a band." But I can't honestly tell you whether that's just become
Well,
legend
let's
or whether
go with
that
it. That
actually
actually sounds really legitimate. So
yeah,
you have
it's so long
exciting
ago.
news. You've got a new full-length album. Tell us about some highlights of the 10 songs that you brought together.
Yeah, we are so excited. We put out Sinners and Saints, and it's 10 songs. It's a lot of different types of music for us. Like we're generally a pretty eclectic band, but it covers everything from like old country to blues to rock and roll. There's some rap on there. Like it is all over the place a little bit musically, and yet the songs are all tied together. They're all very much stories of different characters that kind of take place all over the place. There's a lot of geography on it too. There's New Orleans, there's Memphis, and the final song on the album is actually right here in Stratford. It's Rebel Cafe, and it just kind of wraps it all up and brings it home for us. And so yeah, lots of geography, lots of storytelling, and lots of different musical styles, all put into one nice little package.
So why Revel Cafe? Why did that make it to someone's heart to write music for?
Well, that's funny. It that actually came over COVID, and that one it almost didn't make the album because it is on the album. It's the most extreme musically. It's an old country song that, and we did it as a duet with Ali Matthews, well-known singer-songwriter in town. And it was written during COVID. I was sitting out there in the city square. Everything was shut down. It was empty. You could have fired a cannon off on Main Street and not hit anything. And just sitting there looking at that empty table in the front of the cafe, thinking, man, if that table could talk, the stories that it could tell. And as I was sitting there watching it, this story kind of came to mind, and it kind of materialized. It's two old lovers meeting up in the square and going for one final cup of coffee again. So yeah, it's kind of a fun one. And it when we did the whole project, we were like, how do we bring this home? How do we tie it together? And we went, oh, it fits. It's got some geography, it's got some story, and it just brings us, you kind of go on this musical journey, all these different places, and it just brings it right home to Stratford when we're done. So yeah.
You talked about being family friendly, your music. Tell us what you mean by that.
uh well, we're all dads. So I think it's one of those things, like, don't get me wrong, we like to let our hair down when we have left of it, and it is fun to get out and feel young and rock and roll and jump around, but it's also that we want our shows to be something that we could bring our kids to and not be embarrassed by it, right? And so we pride ourselves on that too. We pride ourselves on being optimistic and community minded, but it's also about being the kind of show that you're not apologizing to your kid later going, I wasn't expecting that, right?
Love it.
Um, so that's kind of our take on it. Yeah, we're dads.
Okay, perfect. What about this pro bass walk song? Tell us about the
Oh my
story on
goodness.
that.
Okay. So you would get a very different story about that if my brother was here telling it, because he is the bass fisherman. He's a die-hard fisherman. And so I'll give you the short version, but you're hearing it from somebody who doesn't get it. So I my brother came to me once, he said, this bass fishing is like really big in the States, and it is. They fill these sky dome type buildings, and all these people come out to these tournaments. And there was a professional Japanese bass fisherman. He said, we got to write a theme song for this guy. And the guy had made a joke once about his boat being like smallmouth Disneyland. All the fish were coming in. Scott said, oh, it's a great name for a song. We'll have to do it. Long story short, it became the guy's theme song. It took off in Japan, of all places. And it's done extremely well for us. And I still am flabbergasted every time I see it played. But yeah, it's done extremely well, and it's played in these auditoriums as he goes in to weigh in his
That's
fish.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Michael, thank you very much for being the boys from the north. Thank you for coming from Stratford and just hitting the international stage. And best wishes for your new album.
Oh, thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Coming up next, we're going to talk to Craig Pierce about tax filing.